La for, hit for none. All the time, la for, hit for none. For Islam stand for peace.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Esteemed viewer, you are very much welcome once again on our program Inspirational African. On this program, we bring you individuals, personalities that have endeavored to create an impact on the lives of others in their communities. And today, we are very much privileged to host Dr. Ali Ayub Baguweemu, a retired senior lecturer of Chambogo University. Doctor, you are very much welcome on our program.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Dr. Ali Ayub Baguweemu is a retired senior lecturer from Chambogo University, one of the biggest universities in Uganda. He has lectured in this university for a period of about 31 years in the Department of Psychology. He has been the head of department for a number of years. He has been a member of the governing council of Chambogo University for 5 years. He has also published a book about the vocational guidance of learners with special needs in Uganda. He has written several research-based articles that have been published, and is also a senior member of Jamaat Ahmadiyya Uganda. He has held different offices at the national and local levels in Jamaat Ahmadiyya Uganda. Dr. Ali Ayub, you are once again very much welcome to this program. You can say salam to our viewers, and we start off.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And I want to start right away with your childhood background.
I'm a Ugandan, born and raised in a part of Uganda, eastern region of Uganda, Busoga specifically. I was the second born of a family of children, 11 of us. All from the same father and same mother.
Okay.
As I talk, I'm 64 years now.
Okay.
But a lot has changed, really. A lot has changed, and maybe since you have asked something about the childhood experience, when I was, I was born to a couple that was, poor. Okay, a younger man, and now a younger girl, maybe because my mother was very, very young by then. There was a firstborn and was a secondborn. When I was about 3 or 4 years there, I was afflicted by polio. Okay. I contracted the poliomyelitis virus that results in true paralysis, okay, and the disability of the lameness. Now, because this was a young couple, they couldn't, raise the other siblings. I think by then, maybe it was at about when we were about 3 years, when I got, the problem. So I was taken to my maternal grandparents, okay, deep in the village there. By then, you can see we have got corrugated, iron sheets. We have got, but then it was really very, very poor. So many, a lot was lacked in terms of the medical or the healthcare system was lacking. So I ended up being taken to my maternal grandparents. So in a way, up to the age of 10, I was brought up by my maternal uncles, my maternal, grandparents. So if we were to talk about, the educational background, it was a little, not so straight, like you would see the normal educational,
growing up in their
yes, growing up in a home where your educational needs, medical care are taken over by your parents. No, for me it wasn't like that. I lived with my maternal, grandparents who were themselves very, very poor and needy. So they couldn't take me to a formal school. Instead, however, maybe I would like to say that was also a very good opportunity to be introduced to Islam. The family that I was born in was, they were Muslim, but Sunni, the Sunni type of, Islam.
Yeah.
So I was taken because I couldn't join because of lack of, financial, support. I was taken to a local madrasa where we were studying for free.
Okay.
And that is where
basically teaching Islam.
Yeah, basically teaching. Yeah, by teaching Islam, reciting, the Holy Quran. Of course, you start with the Yasaran al-Quran, then the Holy Quran. And so somehow by the age, 10, I was able to recite the Holy Quran. Okay. Yeah, so when I was 10 years, around 19, it was 1970, where I rejoined, my parents. I was taken back to my parents by then. Then, at that particular time, because, I'd come because there was, we had, my paternal mother passed on. I couldn't be taken back to the village where my maternal grandparents lived. So I remained there, but I wasn't taken to school. I remained at home. Why? They thought that I was too old to start P7, to start primary 1. Primary 1, people thought that you only had at least, you couldn't have gone beyond 6 or 7 years there. If you are too old, you may not be maybe admitted. Maybe that's what they thought. So I remained at home. And I think there were about 4 now of us. Okay, no, more than that. About 5 of us. And the 4 were studying, but I was at home. Okay. So those young brothers were studying, and for me, at least when I was 10, that 1 year passed. Then in 1971, that is when my uncle, together with my mother, contributed to get some fees for me to start. So from that time on, I was, as it were, adopted by my maternal, my uncle, the younger brother to my biological father. Okay. So it was during the year 1971 when Amin overthrew Bote. That was the time I started primary. I was old, 11 years. Okay. I was in P1. Then up to P2, P3, all did all that type of, covered all, maybe say, the syllabus for those classes in 1 year. Then I leaped forward, went to P4 the following year. I studied P4 and P5 together in that very year. So
for 2 years, you had covered from P1 to primary 5?
Yeah, so I was in primary for 4 years anyway. That is maybe another story. Now, yes.
How were you able to do that? Did you find
there are some enabling factors. One of them was that I was old and therefore mature. Then, because I was very much interested in also learning how to read, especially stories. If you read, for example, there are certain books which were in my maternal grandparents, home. I always would love to read, so I would go to friends, peers around who were attending, say, please teach me how do you write this. So I was writing on the floor. But really, I would like to say that with the exception of maybe P7, it was always number 1. And at that particular time, there was a belief that in order to join a good school in secondary, you had to pass with the A, grade A. The primary school that where I sat for, primary leaving exams, had not experienced anyone with the Division 1. Okay, by then we used to go to grade A. I was the very first person sitting first time and passing with the flying grade colors. I went to one of the best schools, Kiyala College, British. Okay. I was in Kiyala College. I passed very well. After I joined another secondary school, college, Busoga College Mwiri. Those were schools for the rich, the well-to-do. Fortunately, my education was helped by one factor: government from S4. That lower secondary.
Yes.
Government took over the education, catering for everything to do with the education. Up to university, it was free throughout. Instead, we were paid.
Okay.
We were paid. So
an allowance.
An allowance, especially in Nimekei, we used to have what you remember as boom.
Okay.
You would be paid at least some out-of-pocket allowance, but it was enough.
I wanted to know, given your challenges, your physical challenges, and the age at which you joined the school, how did you manage to handle the emotional
aspect of it?
Challenges, yes.
Okay, I would like to inform you, because I'm an expert, because I've grown with, growing up with disability right from childhood. I would like to tell you that when you are disabled and you live, you're integrated within the community where there are able-bodied peers, where there, the other people are not disabled. You gain acceptance earlier. Okay. They look at you as the person. It's only maybe when you go to another society where they would want to refer to you by the disability. But here I was growing up with the children. In fact, you don't even you are not even conscious of your disability and challenges. For example, I would tell you that there's nothing which others could do which I wouldn't do. For example,
with them?
Even climbing a tree.
Sure.
You go and pick mangoes from the
top of the tree.
Yeah, top of the tree. Swimming, because I was born in Jinja, and from the age 10, as I've told you, I came to Jinja, and our home is at the banks of River Nile.
Yes.
I would swim and even cross. You cannot believe I could cross River Nile. You go up to the island, see the River Nile, even cross over myself.
With your disability?
With the disability. In fact, disability is not a problem when you are young.
Okay.
It is a problem when you have aged. I used to walk for, to and fro. It was, I think, 1.5 kilometers or 2 kilometers from where the home is to the neighborhood school. 2 kilometers. You go and attend primary, then you come back to and fro. And there was no problem at all. We used to go to the garden. So every month, so happened that before we left for school, they would say, by 6, you were in the garden digging. And I used to do it together with my siblings.
Did you work on clutches?
Yes. The clutches, actually, I had one
when
support.
You were young.
A stick or pole that I would use.
Ordinary.
But I would play football with it. I would run with it. So it's something really very, very interesting. I started experiencing challenges and knowing, the teasing, the bullying, the nicknaming, because of, your appearance when I joined secondary in a boarding school. Okay. That's where I had, some problems. But even then, that would be for a short while. You just find yourself getting natural, friends. You're accepted. Because I was not alone. Even others who have disabilities, you would be accepted.
Doctor, what inspires you to become a teacher?
I joined the Busoga College Mwiri, and I passed and qualified for law. However, there are certain realistic facts about, career guidance, where you need to know, it is you don't just look at one fact that this one is intelligent, therefore it should be this or that, okay? No, there are certain factors that you have to consider. And I was admitted for law on the basis of my good performance.
Yes.
So now, when when reported the only university at that time was Makerere University. When I reported and the time came for registration was always in the faculties where I've been admitted. I registered, and then the dean of the faculty of law called me to the office, and he told me that, okay, it is good, thank you very much, you performed very well, and you were duly admitted. However, there are certain things which I need to tell you. One, you know, this law, when you become a lawyer, practicing it will be very, very difficult, almost impossible, because it requires someone with a physical fitness. I listened, and that is how I crossed over from education, from law to education. And he's the one who actually gave me the guidance. That it would be better for you to go and enroll in the school of education. And I'll be recommending you. I recommend, please come for a letter. That letter will be there. That you should take it to the dean, faculty of education. So that is how I ended up, becoming a teacher. Okay. And getting a job was very easy. Headmasters, we used to call them headmasters, but head teachers would come and book you. Before you graduate, they will say, please, will you come to my school? They will say it is as if they are advertising something to sell. This is our school, this is what, if you join, you will be teaching, you want someone to be teaching this. So I didn't have any problem joining my first secondary school as a teacher. It was called Kira College Butichi. The headmaster came, was by then called Mr. Isabili. I think you've heard about him, Isabili. He came and said, Baguweemu, you are not going anywhere. You come and serve your school. You need to pay back. Okay. And that's how I ended up teaching in Kira College for a short while anyway. It was a short time. Okay.
Esteemed viewer, we are hosting Dr. Ali Ayub Baguweemu. Like we said, he's a retired senior lecturer at Chambogo University. Doctor, I want to take you back to university career. You finish university, you become a teacher, now you find yourself in Chambogo University. There is quite a lot of work you've done.
I just felt, the need, the hunger, the desire for more education. So I ended up enrolling for masters in Makerere University. And at that particular time, people with masters were not very many. There were few. And at that particular time, there was a certain teacher training college, or could say Institute of Teacher Education, Chambogo. So it was not really very, very difficult for me to get a job because of my performance. Again, I was among the few people who actually got a job. And we started the special education. Because when they saw that I had a disability, they said, oh, this is the right person to be. So I was in the Department of Education. By then it was educational psychology. But then I used to teach education psychology to that section. It was that time a section, not a fully-fledged department. Special needs education was part of educational psychology. So I used to teach, in psychology in that section. So that's how, because, there was need for literature, we came up with a number of, actually, it wasn't only that one which I wrote, but when I talk about a book which is a little bit, but there are some other small booklets, publications that actually I wrote. For example, living with a disability, coping with a child with special needs. Because of my background, I thought that maybe I would contribute to knowledge if I had something documented. So I taught right from 94. Then UNISA was opened up, UNISA, Uganda National Institute of Special Education, when they, when it was set up. I was among the people, the core staff, who actually taught in Uganda National Institute of Special Education. I hadn't been trained as a special education teacher, no. I wasn't taught that, but I had gathered some experience because of the number of short courses. Yes. Attended some courses within here, then had a short course in Denmark. I had another one in the UK. Okay? So those ones somehow made me get to know. Yeah, and when you are within a faculty, you do have workshops, you have seminars. So that is how I ended up, even writing and even doing research in this area. Psychology, but with bias special needs education. You would like to know how I fared? Yes, as far as career, development, or professional development. Yes, I would like to appreciate. I would like to appreciate. Chambogo University. I was one of the architects of Chambogo University, by the way, because Chambogo University being set up, there was a lot of wide consultation. I was a member of some committees. Okay. As a member of committees, would have meetings. In the end, we were able to craft something that later on became Chambogo University. It was a merger of 3 institutions, neighboring institutions. We had you had Institute of Teacher Education, Chambogo, which was producing diplomas mainly, but the degree awards were by my Kerere. Okay. Then in the neighborhood, there was there was UPK, Uganda Polytechnic Chambogo. Then Uganda National Institute of Special Education again, somewhere at the other end of the northern part of the campus. So now, Chambogo University becomes when I was there. It was in 2003. After, of course, there was a lot of struggle, a lot of legal, several processes. It is now Chambogo University, and I would like to say that I've been given opportunity. I'd never at all been maybe a victim of discrimination because of the impairment. Because I've been I was a research, the one maybe research director or research coordinator for UNISA for some time, and I was. For a long time, I was an editor, international editor of the journal, Special Needs Education Journal of Uganda. It was African Journal of Special Needs Education, actually. African Journal of Special Needs Education. And because in that capacity, I traveled to Zimbabwe for some time I was there. Mentoring those people, how they should write articles for the journal. So that it took me somewhere sometime. And because of that, I went to UK for an attachment. That's when I actually got even the diploma. I went to Denmark also for some time. It was like that, to attend, that certificate, short time. Short, that type of certificate. So it has been just like that. Then, after the merger, there was rationalization of, staffing. Because I was not basically a special needs education teacher, I was sent to faculty of education, and I taught for some time there until I became head of department. Head of department psychology. I was a member of the governing council at some time. So many opportunities really. I've been given opportunity to shine, to showcase my abilities. And just now, I retired about 4 years back when I clocked 60 years. But I've got the challenge of mobility now, as you have seen. But if I was maybe very regular, most of my lecturing nowadays, it is very easy to lecture at a university. You can do some of the lecturing in, online using Google Meet or Zoom lectures. But sometimes also I go and lecture there, physically attend, yeah.
One finish up on account of time. But, you've been quite busy with your work schedules and all that. In our world today, I wonder how you have been reconciling the busy schedules vis-a-vis the Jamaat work, because you've worked for the Jamaat in different portfolios. How have you been able to do that very quickly as we wind up?
There's one thing which I would like to point out, even to the viewers. One key to success is building a committed, enthusiastic, interested, teamwork. It is teamwork all to teamwork. Because when I remember, going backwards, looking backwards, I know that we achieved a lot in spite of my disability. I was the head of a department, and my department was one of the best universities. With best departments in the university. I was the very first person who, in the department who got a PhD. I was the doctor. But these others, because of the teamwork and, mentoring them, encouraging them, and as they support you here and there, we were able to build a formidable department with a lot of, and it is at one time it generated the finances for the university, because we used to have a very big number of students coming, under the, the private scheme arrangement. They would pay, and we would give them, especially one area was guidance and counseling. Nowadays it's no longer popular, but it was at that time. So now it is teamwork. Then, when you have got people you are working with and you are not worried that there will be a problem, there will be a gap, anything will be felt, I would have some time for the Jamaat. But I don't want to be very proud. In fact, I just feel when I look back that maybe I served in my humble way, and I would like to appreciate the Maulana Amir, the current Maulana Amir, and together with his predecessors, because our offices are elective offices. During Shura, you would have a session for electing leaders. I would be elected. At one time, I was chairman of SETA. Always, in fact, it is so important that you have teamwork, people you work with.
Doctor, what is your life like after retirement? Is life the same?
Yes, thank you very much. And that is again another story. But I would like to say that retirement is a very tricky decision. It is a tricky development. So it has been a challenge, I would like to say. Why? Because now I'm even weaker as far as mobility is concerned.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ali Ayub Baguweemu. Thank you so much, our esteemed viewers, and I would like you to keep in touch with us for the next episode. That has been Dr. Ali Ayub Baguweemu, and the host has been Abubakar Mugaya. Till then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
La for, hit Alata, la for, hit for Islam stand for peace.